No, if the Toronto Blue Jays do make it to the wild card game against either the Yankees, the Red Sox, Seattle, Oakland, whoever it is, they're going to point to this September 11th weekend, even though it started on September 10th, a four-game series. Toronto lost the first game in the series to Baltimore, but in the doubleheader on Saturday, September 11th, and the single game on Sunday, September 12th, probably one of the most devastating offensive displays in Toronto Major League Baseball history. Now, the three games will pretty well go down as what's best about the Blue Jays. Now, when we look at the amount of pummeling that Baltimore took over the three games, let's break it down. Baltimore had multiple run leads. Toronto came back, I think, at one point by 10-5 and won 11-10 on a ninth inning two-run homer by George Springer. Now, he won his second game of the doubleheader 11-2, very straightforward, but today was almost like a CFL score from the early 1990s, not the Toronto Argonauts and the Baltimore Stallions. Toronto 22. Baltimore 7. Now, this game was dangerous from the outset for Baltimore. Toronto scored 5 in the first inning, took a break in the second, and were actually ahead only 6-3. Scored 10 runs in the third inning, 2 more in the fifth, 4 in the sixth. 22 runs, only 19 hits, and I'm saying only 19. And why only 19? Well, let's break this down very quickly, ladies and gentlemen. When Teoscar Hernandez was hit by a pitch in the first inning, it drove in a run, but the bases were still loaded. Then Lourdes Gurriel, he of the great chia pet hair, hit a grand slam, I think his fourth of the season, to make it 5-0. Now, Guerrero got his 44th of the campaign in the second inning to left on the first pitch. And then the third, this was happened. Danny Jansen had a two-run double. Valera scored Jansen with a single. Lamb, our new player, the former Arizona superstar, homered to right on an 0-1 count. Then Teoscar got his own grand slam. Then Valera doubled to right, his second hit of the inning, and Gurriel and Jansen scored. Now, Gurriel had another homer in the two-run homer the fifth inning, and got his 7th RBI in the sixth on a walk. Then Grichuk drove in Dickerson. Then Jansen drove in Hernandez and Gurriel, and then that was it for the scoring. Now, this is a weird breakdown. Teoscar right now is 102 RBIs. He got 5 today. He's tied with Vladimir for the team lead. Grichuk got 80 now. Gurriel, who's been on fire since the start of September, I think he's got close to 20 or 25 RBIs. He's up to 78, and with a little bit of help, he's going to push over 100. So we have the possibility with Bichette also doing quite well. Springer, when he's healthy, is very hot, as we say. But let's recap, first of all, Game 1, the doubleheader. At the point, Baltimore was leading 2-0, 5-2, 7-3, and 10-5 before the big comeback. Now, this all started, Hyun Jin Roo had a terrible game, gave up 8 hits and 7 runs very early, only lasted 2 1/3. Now, Gurriel had the first homer, which tied the game, made it 2-2 in the second. Then Guerrero homered for his 43rd. Then Jansen homered as well in the fourth, with Lamb scoring. Now, then Lamb drove in 2 with a single in the fifth. Gurriel drove in 1 in the seventh on a single. Then Lamb hit a sacrifice fly. Then again, Springer in the seventh inning. I meant to say 7th inning, in the bottom of the seventh, because we got not 9 innings. A big 2-run homer off the left field stands. Now, the idea about the 11-2 game was quite interesting as well. Is that it was a no-hitter for Baltimore into the 7th inning until Toronto came up with 11 hits and 11 runs. And the big hit, of course, was by Simeon again, but it all started off where Bichette homer to left on a 2-1 count with Guerrero scoring. Then Kirk homer to right with Hernandez scoring. Then Valera hit a sacrifice fly. Simeon then hit the 3-run homer. Then Hernandez hit a 3-run homer, and a three-run homer, and that was it for the scoring. Now, the idea about that game, Dante Bichette is having a hard time in the field, but that's going to be worked on. So let's recap here. Multiple home runs, multiple extra base hits, 44 runs, and counting the runs he scored in the opener, it's the highest total for any Toronto Blue Jay 4-game series. Now, I think Baltimore woke them up in game one on Friday, but once this game was done, I think it was 44 runs in about 26 hours, give or take, but that's nitpicking. 44 runs, ladies and gentlemen. And they were taking it easy in the later innings, especially in a 9-inning game on Sunday. They weren't running out, on the base pass. They weren't. It was just like from station to station. But that 7th inning, where Baltimore was pitching a no-hitter. Can you imagine if they would have lost the press they would have got? So, as it stands right now, Toronto is the hottest team in Major League Baseball. The Yankees were getting beaten up by the Mets. Boston lost today as well. So it's anybody's game. But Toronto has a number of games left with the Rays. They got Minnesota as well for a few games, and Baltimore. And the big one will be the last week of the season. They have 3 games against the Yankees at home. So against the Rays and the Yankees, you got to win at least 5, maybe 6. They only can afford to lose 5 more games down the stretch. And again, it's conceivable if their starting pitching holds, and the bullpen seems to be fine. We got rid of most of the deadwood. But the pickups we have late in the season have just been tremendous for Toronto. To get Jared Dyson, one of the best runners in the modern era, to see him do the outfield and do the base paths, is bringing back thoughts of Devon White. And no disrespect to Jake Lamb, I think Chicago gave up on him. He's been now he's getting his swing back. He could get 10 or 15 RBIs down the road. He's always been a great producer, the former All-Star. And what's nice about this, Corey Dickinson has experience off the bench. He can play any place. Danny Jansen, who doesn't hit for average, but always gets a big hit. Alejandro Kirk can play DH and catchers. So we're platooning at catcher and a DH. Bichette is getting his typical 1-for-3 game. But how's it going to work out here? I think the bottom 4 of the Blue Jays, if the top 5 can set it up. And you see what really hurt Toronto as well, they were put off their game a little bit because they were playing in National League parks, and their lineup had to be a little bit shifted. So if you play Shirley Springer every second day, and you give maybe Bo a rest because maybe platoon him or give him DH one day and shortstop the second day. But Teoscar is on fire. Like if you stop, let's say you got Springer, Simeon, and Guerrero, you get them out. Then you got you got Bichette, Teoscar, and Randall coming, and Lourdes probably one of the best number 7, number 8 hitter in baseball right now. So I mean, it's looking an awful lot like the 91, 92, and 93 Blue Jays, because as it stands right now, they weren't scoring for 2 weeks, and maybe was good for the opponents then, but they're really bringing forward the offense the last couple of games. So I think if they make the playoffs, they can point to this solid weekend against a game like Baltimore is not as bad as they show. They can hit the ball. They have some good young players. You look at Mountcastle, Santana, Hayes had a big weekend as well. And, Severino was around there too. But I really think, though, if Toronto can give some of the big players late inning rests, put in Dyson, put in Lamb, put in maybe Reese McGuire every once in a while, but if they stay healthy. And by the way, you're probably wondering about Bijou. Bijou had a re-aggravating his major injury. I don't think he'll be available for the postseason, and that's why I think they picked up Lamb on time. I don't know if he'd be eligible for the postseason, but Corey Dickinson, what a talented player. And basically, we're getting these people for bags of chips because the people that were given up on, and he also picked up some key players on the waiver wire in late August. I don't want to say who because I don't want to jinx it, but there's a former Pittsburgh Pirate that's in the minors right now who can hit the long ball. So you never know, and with the September call-ups, you know how it works. So ladies and gentlemen, if you like what we're doing here, give us a like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget the idea about baseball, sure, it's one game at a time, but what a game today. Have a good day. Bye.